Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lili Nishmasi Mimirosi Bas Mordechai. Whole Eretz Yisrael is in such a good mood. It's snowing in Yerushalayim. Unbelievable. What? How many inches? Like I saw pictures from Chaim Snow. No pun intended. It's like literally 5 inches in front of his house. Maybe more. Rabbi Isai. You know what? Let me read this before I show pictures. This is an amazing, powerful email to me. It comes from a big tzaddik from Joel Mizrahi. He says, writing for you vacation in Los Angeles. Firstly, I want to say that I'm really saddened by the loss of Yidi Leibowitz Z 2 years ago. If you told me that a chassid in Israel, originally from Monsey, passed away, I would say that is sad, and I would move on to whatever I was doing. I would think, how does it relate to me, besides being another Jew that I never met on the other side of the world? Well, that's exactly how Yidi relates to me. He's another Jew that I never met on the other side of the world, and it hurts. It hurts knowing that we daven for him, we have tzedakah in his chut, and we saw the notes from his wife and family, and we feel for them. Is this how Daf Yomi and MDY changed me? Changed all of us? It's an unbelievable thing. We are better Jews, better people, better husbands, better business people, just like you promised. This email isn't about me or for me. It's for everyone else to see how real this really is. In the last 2 years. So here's a person that went out there. He figures if he's going to give chizuk to somebody else, why not? He's laying it all out on the table. Listen to this. In the last 2 years, my shalom bayit with my wife has improved exponentially. In no way to explain that except the Daf Yomi, some might say it explained by the lockdowns of COVID, but that could go either way. B, personally, my connection to Hashem has gotten closer with regard to emunah and tefillah and to learning. Almost all I want to do now is learn, which never was the case before. C, those who know me well know that I have a very short temper. Baruch Hashem, that temper has been seriously tamed over the last 2 years. I can't even remember the last time I lost my temper or screamed at someone. D, last year, I took the initiative to start wearing my kippah at work, something I hadn't done in a long time and never at my current job. It was tough to do at first. Now it's just normal, and it keeps me aware of myself and my behavior, forcing me to be a better person, to continue making Kiddush Hashem. In fact, very shortly after that, our family experienced a real Yeshua that is a clear chesed from Hashem. E, lastly and most important, our achdut among Am Yisrael has improved, and now we have that close connection and feeling for all Jews, especially within MDY. Just like we learned in the last Maseches about why Moshe sat on the rock and not a pillow, this is bringing us many steps closer to bringing Moshiach. Of course, all these things I mentioned, all you need to be worked on and improved, along with Avodat Hashem, in Yidi's memory, we will all become better people and bring the Geula now, Joel Mizrahi. Just a quick follow-up to the picture from Miami Beach. I got 2 emails yesterday, very, very similar, so I want to read them both together. This is from Simi Mandelbaum, very chashuv guy. I was listening to the shir after Shabbos, when my family convinced me to take them to the Surfside to get ice cream. While my wife and some kids waited in the store, I turned on the shir outside to show my boys a clip where you mentioned the picture. As soon as I turned it on, 2 kids walking by, heard your voice and come running over and ask, is that Eli Stefansky shir? I confirm it is, and they tell me their fathers listen to that every day, and actually just made a scene that week before the smoke at the smokehouse in Surfside. Not sure if you want to publicize the names. One kid is the son of Eli Gunsberg, and the other was Frankfurter. Bottom line is, I think everyone listens to the shir, Simi Mandelbaum. And then you have another one. I recently just traveled to Orlando, Florida. And when I went on the plane, I spotted someone holding 8-minute Daf Gemara. As well as the next morning when I went to daven Shachris in the nearby Chabad Shul, once again someone walked into davening carrying 8-minute Gemara, which is amazing to see because everyone talks about how big it has become. So by actually seeing people everywhere, even on the plane around the day in Florida, carrying 8-minute Daf Gemara, as well as the next day, someone else actually see the Gemara, truly speaks to the tremendous amount of people who are following, learning. Part of an amazing group. Thank you for continuing. And we have here some Gewaldige pictures. My 16-year-old daughter doesn't say daddy yet, but when she sees Rebellion on the screen, her hand goes up and says, ah. Following my first scene with MDY Megillah, my 3 boys, 8, 10, 11, insisted in joining MDY Family for Moed Katan. Big shout out to the 3 new members. I signed up for Moed Katan, the Shver, Zevi, and Joe the car dealer of Benpath. Thank you so much for a wonderful, clear, easy. Where's that place? Where's Benpath? Anybody? E-L-E-G. We have to get going here. Okay, you know what? We'll just skip all these pictures for now. We'll do it Motzei Shabbos. There's a lot of time Motzei Shabbos. Oh, here's an interesting one. As a suggestion of my wonderful son-in-law, Philip Gross, I began listening to Rebbe Shir started Megillah. I enjoyed the Shir very much. I'm getting a great deal from it. I've not missed one yet. Now recovering from my procedure at Weill Cornell Hospital in New York. I'm making sure that I still don't miss a Shir. Shkar for all you do. Eli, I look forward to meeting you when I visit my daughter and her family in RBS. Here he is in the hospital learning Torah. Rabbi Yisai, today is Daf Tes Vav. But let's do the sponsors first. Koilol sponsor is anonymous, for real. Maseches Moed Katan is dedicated by the Kessler and Davis families. Refuah shleima for Miriam Esther bas Devora bekorov. Michael and Jayme Benmeleh in memory of Devora Faige Shmuel and Menachem Mendel ben Elchanan. May the neshamas have an Aliyah. May Hashem bring Moshiach. Eli neshamas Shalom, Baruch, Yodah, Devora, Yidi Leibowitz Z, Yosef Shlita by Abba Renner, Lezech Nishmas Harav Tzadik, Mordechai Pragansky Zatzal, one of the greatest Gedolim, was nifter in 1949, Chavei Shvat, without children, and is buried in basic forest, Shem Rishav Bnei Brak. Today's his yard site. Please go if you can. Anonymous. Huh? Sol Salanter. Wow, if I would have known. As a Refuah shleima for Yisrael, Ben Chaya Toba, as a Mazel Tov, for Elchanan Pressman's grandson's bris this upcoming Erev Shabbos, Elchanan Pressman. I should have prepared a shtickle Torah for him. No, V'chal Shel Ereach is last week. Ayin Tachas Ayin. The famous Vilna Gaon. Ayin Tachas Ayin. Why, if you knock out a slave's eye, you should knock out your eye? It says Ayin Tachas Ayin. Vilna Gaon says that Ayin Tachas, let's see if I remember it. Tachas means one below. So you have Ayin Yud Nun. So Ayin is below money, meaning kesef. Ayin, what comes after Ayin? Pay. That's the pay of kesef. Yud, what comes after Yud? Chaf. That's the chaf of kesef. And one comes after Nun, Samach. That's Ayin. You do kesef tachas Ayin instead of an eye. Kesef. By the way, this is real quickly. These are the 300 names that are in the front of the new art scroll. I know they're small, but there's 300 of them there. And this is the front. The kids it's coming up. Chagiga. And then comes the real fun. Maseches Yivamis. Okay. So we're holding the Milda Sugya of Avelos, Menuda, and Mitzayra. Is there Simchas Yontif for an Aval? We said an Aval acts normally for Yontif. So there's no Avelos. Green. And now we're holding by Mitzayra. Is there Avelos by Mitzayra? We're top of this. Now today, Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to go through the entire list. It's going to be a very easy sugya. Each piece, just what is the pasuk that you know Aval is Aser? Does it apply to Menuda? Does it apply to Mitzayra? Then we go to the next one. How do you know that an Aval does not wear tefillin? This is the pasuk. Does a Mitzayra wear tefillin? Does a Menuda wear tefillin? Next. Entire sugya today. Mitzayra. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 lines from the bottom. Ma'u shinag tzarata beregel. A person with tzara, he has a tzaras on his body. Does he act like a mitzayra on yontif? Omar Abaye Toshma v'hanazir v'amitzayra mitumasoy l'tarasa. It says in our Mishnah that a mitzayra and a nazir can wash their clothing once they come out of their tumah. They're no longer tumah. But it seems like no matter what, they always are noig betumah. In other words, they can't wash their clothing, they can't take a haircut. Says Gemara, no, lo by kamer. That's not a good raya. Lo by metumasa de lenoig. You hear this? When a person becomes tar, there's a hava to say it's worse than if a mitzvah is tameh. Why? Because you're going to cut his hair off. And then what is he going to do? He's going to wait until perhaps the last day of Yontif, according to Rashi, according to the Rishon Mother, but he might push it off, and it's also to bring the carbon on the last day of Yontif. Kamash Malon, we're not concerned. Omar Rava. Tashma, Vatsaru al Rabbi's Kohen Gadol. So here is the pasuk. This is a pasuk about tzaras. And then it says, Vahatzarua and pasuk memhei. First we talk about a tzarua. Point that out. So we already know we're talking about a tzarua. A mitzayra, something that's tzaras. So then why does it say Vatzarua? Ish tzarua tameh. Asher boy Why does it say Vatzurua? So for here, we're going to learn that this is talking about somebody else. It's talking about a Kohen Gadol. And just look at these three halachas over here, just real quickly. B'gadav Yufrumim, he has to have ripped clothing. V'roshia Perua, according to one pshat, he can't shave his hair. Val Safam Yata. We're going to see this, we're going to talk a little bit about it, that yes, they have to cover their head with a shawl, some sort of beggar. So, Vatzarua l'Rabbi's Kohen Gadol. V'ha Gadol kol hashana kiregel kuli almadami. Now, a Kohen Gadol is equal to Yontif the whole year. Why? This not Kohen Gadol makriv oyne v'oyne oichel. A Kohen Gadol does bring a korban if he loses a loved one. By the way, I have to make a correction here. Two people already corrected, maybe more, Dr. Levin and somebody else. Oh, Rabbi Willig from Faige. This was the list of kroivim, and it says on the bottom here, achos, not married. If she's married, it's not achos. That's mostly a mistake. This applies to Kohen Gadol. Kohen Gadol, he's not metama to non-Israel. There are very minor things. By aninos, maybe by a sister who's married. We had once a Taisis, Rabbeinu Tam said that you're not noig avelos by a sister, somebody else takes care of her, the husband, but we don't pass it like Rabbeinu Tam. So this only applies to Kohen Gadol, really. Okay. Kohen Gadol makriv oyne v'oyne oichel. He could bring a korban, even if he's aynen, but he doesn't eat. A Yisrael could bring a korban on Yontif. So that means you take a Yisrael who could bring the korban on Yontif. You take a Kohen Gadol who could bring the korban all year round. So all year round for a Kohen Gadol is like a Yisrael on Yontif. They're equal. Just like Yisrael cannot bring a korban when he's a aynan all year round, but he could bring on Yontif. A Kohen Gadol could bring the korban all year round. He just doesn't eat from it, but he could bring a korban all year. So all year round is aninas for him. And it says, what does it say in the pasuk? V'hatzarua. He has to be noig like a mitzayra. So you see that there is tzaras on Yontif. A Kohen Gadol acts with tzaras all year round, and all year round is like Yontif. So you see a regular person on Yontif acts with tzaras. He cannot take a haircut. He cannot clean his clothes. It's not Kohen Gadol. Shmamino noig tzarati b'regel. Shmamino. Ovel. Now we're going to the next thing on the list, and this is what we're going to do one after another. Next thing on the list is to spire it. You don't really need to see the list, but it's there. This list is in the art scroll in Hebrew, I think also in English, probably, after the whole sugya is over. Maybe Daf, Tes, Zayin, Amud Aleph. Not in color, though. The Torah commands the Bnei Aaron when they lost their brothers, Nadav Avihu, don't take a haircut. I'm sorry. Don't grow your hair. Don't grow your hair. So in Menachem, everybody else is usher to take a haircut. Top of Daf Tesvav. And this is going to be the entire daf that we have today. We see the halacha by a avel can't take a haircut. What about a menuda and a mitzvah? This is the only case, Rashi points out, that they're together. We're going to ask them in one shot. Usually it goes menuda. Once we know the halacha by menuda, we're going to go to mitzvah. Menuda mitzvah, ma'im mitzvah, l'shma menuda mitzvah, asurim l'saper u'lechabes. End of the story. This was the easy one. We have a Mefurish Brayso, they can't take a haircut or wash their clothing. Now another halacha. Menuda shemeis. Person who's excommunicated, he's benidui. Let's say he didn't pay a loan. They passed him pay a loan. Let's say he made fun of chachamim. Let's say he's an apikoros. You put him in nidui. Stay away from this guy. Can't come within 4 hours of him. You can't do the business. Whatever. He's menuda. If he dies, bezdin cycle and saroyle. They throw stones at his arm. Not literally. After he died, they put a whole pile of stones on his coffin. No, not like that. I'll take one stone, put it on his aron. If somebody dies berishus, he didn't do what he was told to do, bezdin cyclin is aroinoi, you should know that this is a bad guy. It's a bizayin during his levaya. Now, the Rambam says this is dafka for an apikoros, or somebody that's over in the Rabbanon, not so much if a person didn't pay up a loan. Person, if Bezin were mechayiv somebody a din Torah, you should pay so and so $100, and you don't pay it, so you need to. But they don't put a stone on they don't advise you like that. Okay, there was once I said the story before, but it's a good story. It's Emerson story. There was once a bad guy, a bad Jew, he was a moiser. He used to tattletale and snitch on the Jews. And right before he died, he said he wants to do tshuva. And he said that he's asking that the Chaver Kedisha should bury him upside down, on his head. So they told the Rav, so he dies, and this was his thing. He wants to be buried upside down for tshuva. The Rav said, no, we don't bury a Jew like that. Lay him flat. Okay, lay him flat. 2 days later, the government comes, digs up the grave, they look inside, and they put it back, and they go, what happened? This Rasha, he died b'niduyav, he died as a Rasha. Right before he died, he called up the government, he said, listen, these Jews hate you so much because I was close to you, they're going to bury me on my head. So because the Rav went la'alacha and he said no, so they were saved from whatever. Okay.
Who the Rav was? You know who the Rav was?
I don't remember. Who? No, do you know?
Yeah.
No.
It's the
Rabbi Kiva Eger, maybe?
No.
The Chavetz Chaim?
Of our generation.
Or Moshe Feinstein?
He was a young man. He was a very young man.
In Russia, are you saying? Okay. We have to find out who the story is. It's a true story, though. Ovel Chayiv Batifas HaRoish. What's Atifas HaRoish? So this is a picture. I'm not so happy with this picture. You tell me why. This is from the Oiz V'Hadar. Now, it seems from halacha. I don't know. Maybe I read it wrong. I don't know. It seems that it goes past his nose onto his lip. I think they were trying to do from bottom up. I think it's from top down. It says from his nose, his af and peh. I don't know. I don't know. So they're not supposed to see. He's a menuda. He's a oval. He's an oval. He's sitting at home shiva. Okay, whatever. The point is some sort of shawl, scarf like this that goes over. I was thinking more like a hoodie that we have. Like today we don't do it. Why don't we do it? Because it says that you're a cleaning lady. All these people are going to make fun of you. The guy are going to make fun. What? The what? From bottom up? From bottom up? Uh-huh. So, but this picture is not good either way. So bottom up, okay, like the picture, bottom up, but a little bit of his nose as well. But in Allah, it does say that you should cover a little bit of your eyes with your hat today. Bimhera, so it's from top down. Okay, I don't know. You're saying that's from the Mesifta? Okay. Seems like from the Mesifta, it says no, that it goes from bottom up. So we have to see this pasuk. We're going to be dealing with this pasuk a lot. We learn a lot of Hilchas Avelos from Yecheskel. It says in the pasuk, He'onik doim mesim. Don't say anything about the dead. You're not allowed to talk. Yecheskel lost his wife in the Magefa. He couldn't be noyeg Avelos. One thing that he did was, He'onik doim, that is Avelos. The rest is Eveloi Sasa. It says in the pasuk, don't do Avelos. We're going to learn that's tefillin. You should wear tefillin. That means everybody else cannot wear tefillin. That's how we learn that. You wear shoes. All of Klai Yisrael that has Avelos does not wear shoes. And this is the pasuk that we're looking for. And don't wear a covering on your lip, on your safam. So Mela, everybody else has to cover with atifas haroish. Now, one by one. So now we're going to the next step. Once we know Avel is chayv, what about somebody that's a menuda? It says mefurish that they're like benidoy. Who? The Talmidei Chachamim, we learned in Maseches Tainas. Remember Maseches Tainas? After you do all the fast, and it doesn't rain, so they sit like a menuda. Uka avelim. Shani, the Chamer. Over there, that they were fasting, and they had some problem with Hashem. Hashem didn't want to give them rain. Why? Because they did something wrong. So they were like Benidoy from Shamayim. So remember this word. We must remember it from Amud Beis. Chomer. Shamayim is chomer, not cow. Chomer. It's more chomer to be a menuda when Hashem puts you nidu. Mitzayra Mal B'Ativas Harosh. Stam I went online, they had Mitzrayim in Yerushalayim, leprosy, just about 100 years ago. And there's a book written about it here, based on another real picture. You can actually see, I don't know if this guy, what's going on there. Something funny is going on with this guy's face. These were the people with, it's not real tzaras, but that's what they call it, leprosy, whatever. Tzaras, it's just a muscle to what tzaras is. So, Mitzayra Ma B'Ativas Harosh, what about a Mitzayra? Does he have to cover his head? Toshma V'Alsafa Miyata, it's by a Mitzayra like we had. Where was that pasuk? We had in the first psukim. Yeah, not just by Cheskel, but don't forget this pasuk of Tzarua, and all the way to the end, V'Alsafam Yata. So you see that a Mitzayra has to, it's a Mefurish pasuk, it's not even a question. The Rishonim talk that it's a Mefurish pasuk, so what's the question? You don't ask, is there a pasuk? Yeah, everybody knows the pasuk. But we're going in order. Aval, Mitzayra, Menuda, Mitzayra. Aval, Menuda, Mitzayra. So even if one of the cases is a Mefurish pasuk, we can just ask the question as that should be consistency to the sugi. Shma Amina. Aval, now we'll go to halacha number 1. Back to the list. Asur lahaniach tefillin. Aval cannot wear tefillin, whatever days you can't wear tefillin, aynon, whatever. B'dikamale rachman le'cheskel, pe'ercha, chavoish, alecha, again, going back to Cheskel, you should wear tefillin. A regular aval does not wear tefillin. M'chlal, the kalam also. Menuda ma'av tefillin. What about a menuda? I don't know. Teiku. Mitzayra ma'av tefillin. What about a mitzayra? Tashma. Batzura the rabbis. Kohen gadol. Begadol v'yu frumim. Shiu mekurayim. Frum means they should be ripped. V'roshi perua. Ein priya. Elagidol seyor. You should grow your hair out. Divri b'liazer. Kiva oimer nemra havaya berosh. It says you. V'nemra havaya bebeged also. Ma'avayo hamur bebeged over shechutz megufay. What's a beged? A beged is not attached to your guf. It's on top. So too, your head, it's not your head. You shouldn't take off your hair from your head. You should take off something that's on top of your head. Meaning, l'chayra, tefillin, ma'alav tefillin, omar apapaloi, akumta v'sudra. Anybody remember this from Erevin? Most likely not. Akumta v'sudra. Yeah, vada. Remember the guy put down his package and his hat. This is akumta v'sudra. Kumta, his hat, his sudar. This is Rav Papa also in Erevin. Avel asa b'she'ela shalom. You can't ask if you're aval all 30 days. You shouldn't go over them. How you doing? You're not allowed to do it. La halacha today. No, how you doing? Why? The kamalei rachman le Yecheskel. Ha'anek daim. Yecheskel was told. I should really have that pasuk out for the rest of the shir if I can find it. Is it here? No. That's Tzarua. It's hiding. Oh. Hayanik daim. Daim means quiet. Be quiet. So what's very interesting is, now all of a sudden we're learning from Yecheskel. You're supposed to be quiet. All of Chai is supposed to be. A second ago we said, you wear tefillin, no one else could wear tefillin. We don't say, oh, you wear tefillin, everybody should wear tefillin. Over here, you're supposed to be quiet. Don't say hello to anybody, so no one can say hello. The answer is because it's right before over here. From here on, you're not doing avelos. He's supposed to do a little bit of avelos so that he's showing that his wife died at the end of his life. So he does something, says Tais. Tais explains a little bit. He won't talk. One of the things. Now we go to step number 2. What about somebody nidui? Could he ask? Again, after the Tanaisim, the Talmid Chacham said they don't know what to do. It's not raining, so they're not allowed to ask. They're not allowed to say hello to anybody. Like somebody that's in nidui. So you see that somebody that's in nidui cannot say shalom. So once again, let's remember this. Abai says again. Perhaps over there that it didn't rain, so they're in nidui from Hashem. That's chomer. So I don't know. Next step. What about a mitzayra? Could he say hello? Tashma bal safam yata. Going back to the pasuk bal safam yata shiusif saisav midu bakais zubezu. We learned from the word safam. Before we were learning from the whole pasuk about safam yata. Over here from the word safam, I could have said a different word. Shiusif saisam midu bakais zubezu. He has to be quiet. Before we learned for Yata, right? He has to cover his head. Now we're learning that he can't talk. Shiu mikimenuda v'cha'avel v'asav b'shil shalom. He should be like a menuda, somebody that's benidui. He cannot talk. So you see, menuda also can't talk. V'cha'avel v'asav b'shil shalom. Shema mina. Says the Gemara, v'nifshem mina l'menuda. So it says mefurish over here, like a menuda. Like a menuda. So a menuda can't talk either. So let's just show you real quickly here. This is what it says. What we have in the Bryce is the bottom one. After the tinus, right? Mitzayra. A Mitzayra v'asav miyata. Mitzayra is like a menuda. A Mitzayra. Right over here, Mr. Mitzayra. Shiyeh kemenuda v'cha'avel v'asa b'shila shalom. So we see a Mitzayra can't talk. But the Gemara is asking, maybe a menuda could also not talk. It says that the Mitzayra is like a menuda, he can't talk. It says the Gemara, if it would say she'asur means it's referring to Mr. Menuda. Menuda in red, he's asur to talk. But that's not what it says. It says with a vav, ve'asur. So it's two separate things. A Mitzayra, she'eh kemenuda v'chavel. He should be like a menuda v'chavel, whatever that means. He can't cut his hair. Ve'asur b'shila shalom. Not that the menuda is asur b'shila shalom. Menuda is sentence 1. Sentence 2, because otherwise it says she'asur. She'asur is referring on the menuda. It says ve'asur. In addition, another halacha. The Mitzayra is also ve'asur b'shila shalom. He can't talk. So I have no raya what a menuda could do or can't do. It's more a little interesting, but biter. Aval can't learn Torah. Daim is referring to quiet. You can't even talk in Torah. They say in the yeshiva guys, when they go Ben Azmanan, they have vacation, they're like somebody on Tisha B'Av. They put on the tefillin by mincha. They don't learn Torah. It's also for them to learn, and they wear Crocs all day. So. What about Ava learning Torah on Yantif? Could Ava learn Torah on Yantif? So it seems like Ava could learn Torah on Yantif. The Das Eish says, because v'samachta b'chagecha,
Doesn't cancel the shiva?
The Hilchas Avel, it doesn't cancel. You can't show Avelus only Dvarim Shebetzin is Aser. Yantif, no, Dvarim Shebetzin I believe is Aser. Yeah. Discuss afterwards. But I'll call him. I'm telling you, a Maseches Shaya. No time left on the clock. So the Das Eish says that it's the V'samachta is the right. So Ramosha proves the V'samachta nowadays that's carbon. Nowadays it's only Rabbanim, but nevertheless he says that Aval could learn Torah, and he says something very, very interesting in Ramosha. He says that what kind of Torah could Aval learn on Yantif? Only Torah that brings him simcha, such as learning in depth. But just reading Tehillim, Psukim, Shnai Mikra Vechatargum, for instance, the Magen Avraham says it's Aser. It doesn't bring him any simcha. And he's Aval on Yantif. So look, you were right one time, I don't know, twice. Look it up, don't come running to me with the Shulchan Aruch again. I have to apologize again. Menuda, what?
That's the point. He died Friday before Yom Tov.
Okay.
How's that anecdote?
What?
Didn't we learn Shema Shalom from that anecdote?
It just means any talking, anything. You can't say, you can't use your mouth. Not for Shema Shalom, not for Torah. So learning. Menuda Ma'abed Torah. Amar Yosef Toshma. Menuda Shoina v'Shoina Lai. It says Mufurish. A Menuda, somebody that's in could teach Torah, and he could be taught. So he could learn Torah. Niskar, he could be hired out. He could hire a plumber to fix his things. Muchram, but a guy, and Rashi here, don't look at Rashi so much because Mukhram Rashi says over here, 30 days. If it doesn't work for 30 days and there's another 30 days of nidu, he turns into a Mukhram. Says the building on the side, it really means 60 days, whatever it is. If you're a menuda and you don't do tshuva, you turn into a mukhram, which is much worse. You can't even bring a plumber to your house if you have a problem. You can't bring any. You can't be soicher anybody. Mukhram leishaynev leishaynim loy. You can't learn Torah. You can't teach Torah. Leiniskav leiniskarim loy. Aval shaynu la'atzmoy. But he could learn Torah for himself. He can't teach others, but he can learn for himself. Why shall he yafsik his limud? He shouldn't stop learning. He could only earn the minimum of the minimum bread, water. V'amarav Zabuni, V'amarav. And Rav says, Zabuni Maya, he could, what should he do for Parnasa? Maya bepakto da'aravis. There's a place, Aravis, by the marketplace. Go around, those guys on the corner, the homeless people, they sell a bottle of water when it's a hot day, do that. It in the minimum of the minimum. Shma Mina, fine. So you see from here that they could learn Torah. Mitzayr ma'abedi Torah. What about a Mitzayr? Tashma. Teach the generations to come. Just like Har Sinai. Then what? How do you learn Torah? Sinai everybody was so fearful and they're sweating away. Here it says Mitzayr. We're asking about a Mitzayr. Somebody was boiling nida by mistake. Mutarim likrois b'Torah u'b'nevim miksum. They're allowed to learn Torah. Why? Because their tumah didn't happen from litzanas, from being a kal roish. B'simcha says Rashi. Midrash, b'talmud, b'alachas, b'agadas, all the Torah. U'balikroim asurim. Because a balkeri, his tumah came from being b'simcha kal roish. Shma mino, but it says mufurish. Hamitzaroim. A mitzayra could learn Torah. Avel. Also, can't wash his clothing. Let's say the story real quick. Avshalom killed his brother Amnon, and he ran away from David. So Yoav wanted Avshalom to come back to the palace. So he set David up. He brought this very smart woman. He told her, dress up like an avela. How do you dress up like an avela? You wear dirty clothing. So you see from here, clothing are dirty. That's the bottom line. But the story is that she came in there and she says, oh, I'm terrible, terrible. I only had 2 sons. One had a fight with the other. He killed the other. And now everybody's telling me, we have to kill the killer. I'm going to be left with nothing. What do I do? So he says, don't worry about it. The whole thing, bring him, tell him it'll be okay. Oh, what about you? Your son also killed another son. So David HaMelech, he said, you're right. So Yoav got David HaMelech. Anyway, it says, bring Yisha Chachama. Benmeleh is Ablina, Velivshino, Big the Avel, Valtasoichi Shemen, Voyiski Shazel, Yom Ram, Sabel Hameis, you should be like an Avela. So you see that you can't wash your clothing. What about the other 2? Toshma, Menudim Mitzrayim, says Mufurish in the Bryce, Menudim Mitzrayim, Asurim, L'Saper, L'Chabes. This we had before for $1,000. If everybody remembers, we had it on the top of the page. Abba Ovel Chayav Bikriya the Kamer L'Rachman Levnei Aaron L'Tifroimu Mechlal D'Kulam Mechayvi, that Aaron was told they said, don't rip your clothing, but everybody else is mechuyev. What about Menuda Ma'al B'Kriya? Does somebody need to do this? You have to do Kriya? Teiku, I don't know. Mitzvah Ma'al B'Kriya, you'll see in the list, most of the stuff are Safek, we don't know. By Menuda. Tashma B'Gad of Yufrumim, Shimukurayim. What about Mitzvah Ma'al B'Kriya? Tashma B'Gad of Yufrumim, Shimukurayim. Tashma. Ovel Chai B'Kfiyas Hamita. You have to flip the bed over if you're in Avelos. The Tani Bakapara. Daf Yomi Beis, sponsored by Moshiach and Woody Wyman, as is cause for Woody Moskowitz, sponsored in honor of Rebelli, which man slach in all his endeavors, both the Gashmis and Ruchnis. Thank you. Says Bakabar, the Musti Yukni Nasati Behem. I gave human beings a tzelem Elokim. And because they sinned, Havachtia, I took it away from them. So Mela, when a person dies, his neshama leaves him, he doesn't have that tzelem Elokim anymore. Kafim to say him. Allah, you should flip your beds. Today we don't do that. That's another thing we don't do. Again, so that the cleaning lady should make fun. That's one of the reasons. Menuda Mitzayra, Mayim B'Kfiyas Hamita, Teiku, we don't know what the halacha is for Menuda Mitzayra. Avel also B'Asiyas Malacha, Avel can't go to work. I saw that the Achronim discuss about haram. If somebody has a shop, maybe he could sell it off to his partner, but people see him working there, but they know, it seems like you could do some sort of trickery and get rid of your business They say maybe you shouldn't take the money from it, but okay. I'm going to flip your Yom Tovim le'evel. So you see that Evel and Chag are similar. Ma Chag also b'melacha, af Evel asur b'melacha. What about somebody that is in? What do I do with my thing? Okay, I don't know. By a tiny tzibur, going back to the time, we're talking a lot about tiny tzibur from Maseches Tainas. We said, let me just find this thing so I don't have to keep on losing my spot. Not here, not here. See it anywhere? Backup is not here. Oh, once I'm here, I just noticed I hit this. These are the ones I didn't show yesterday. A tremendous shout out to Yaakov Ayah. Look at this. Done. Because this is what the guys in New York have. They finish the daf, they have the done, then they show each other on the WhatsApp, on the big WhatsApp group. Here, another one. It's geschmack to do the daf. And very, very in the background, you see the MDY logo. Unbelievable stuff. Okay. I got yelled at because I showed the not the most interesting ones yesterday. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Menuda Shalom Ran, not Shlomo Ran. Rabbi said, not Shlomo. Don't make that mistake. I don't know who did that, not me. Menuda Malvasis Malacha. Omer Rabbi Yosef, Toshma. Yeah. Kisha Amru is a menuda mutter to what? Work. Kisha Amru, also Basis Malacha, these guys that are fasting and it's not working, it's not raining. You're allowed to work at night, and it says Mufurish. You see that a menuda cannot work. My love, akulu. L'chayra v'chein atamoitze b'menuda is going on all the halachas, even on working. Lo yashara, it's going on the rest of the stuff like covering your head, shoes, says whatever. Tashma menuda shoyna v'shoynin loy. It says that a person that's a nidui could teach Torah and he could be taught. Niskar, he could be hired out. V'niskarim loy, and he could hire. Shmamina mitzayra. Shmamina. So you see that a menuda is niskar. Can be hired out. He can work. Mitzayra ma'avasis malacha. Teiku. I don't know. Ovel asberchitza. He can't wash himself. You see by David Amel with that story. Yoav told her, how do you act and how do you pretend that you are an avela? Don't bathe. Don't wash your clothing. It's the same thing. Same idea. Menuda ma'aberchitza. What about somebody? Neither Tishamru also rechitza le'amru ela kol gufay. Aval panav yodav v'ragel of mutar. You're allowed to wash part of the body. V'chenat ha'moitzel b'menuda uba avel. So you ask me if a menuda could wash himself? Yes. Not, but only panav yodav v'ragel. My love, akulu. It's going also like the same kind of discussion we had before. It's going on all the halachas, even on rechitza loy ashara on the tifas haroish mitzarim ha'rechitza teiko. Ovel also been in sandal. Can't wear shoes. You should wear shoes. Also, nobody else can wear shoes. Again, these are hilchas avelos. We're learning hilchas avelos here. These are things, if a person learns this Gemara during avelos, quickly, without looking into it, without having too much on it's mutter. Sandal. A whole discussion, by the way, if an ovel can't learn Torah, Torah say avelos is only rabbanon. Maybe he should be learning, maybe he has a heter not to learn if he doesn't want to, but really he should be learning at least the sad sugyas. They definitely learn hilchas avelos, but even in addition to that, sandal, Rav Yosef, somebody that's a nidui could wear shoes, Toshma. Kishamar also bin a sandal, Av b'derech mutter again by the tainas. Haketzad yotzel l'derech noyel nichlas l'ir choyletz. V'chenat ha'moitz b'menuda. What? No. What is it about? Kishamar needs a sandal b'tainas sibur. Yeah. Sibur. Avo b'derech mutter. Haketzad yotzel l'derech noyel. When he goes out on the way, he puts on his shoes. Nichnas l'ir, when he comes back, choyletz, he takes it off so nobody should see. V'chenat ha'moitz b'menuda b'avel. L'chayra it's a raya to menuda. We had this 3 times already. My lava kulu. It's going even on this halacha of nilulas sasandal. Loy ashar. It's going on a tifa. Mitzayim abinin sasandal. Teiko again, same thing. Ovel also v'tashan mita. No relations for ovel. D'chsiv vayinachim David as eis b'sheva ishtay v'yavayaleh. Just from reading this, I didn't see anybody saying it, but it's just interesting. Why would the pasuk say that he had relation? Like, Why is it important for us to know his private business? But it seems like that the Torah is teaching Chiddush. First, there was Shiva. And immediately after Shiva, then you're allowed to. Before that, you're not. Now, it's interesting. A menuda cannot be within 4 amas of anybody. So what's the question here? The answer is, because the wife is different, Ishtakigufay doesn't apply that halacha of dalat amas. Taisus points out, we don't know if Klal Yisrael were wearing shoes. You ask me a question, could a menuda wear shoes? What did they do in the midbar? I have no clue. I don't know what they did. So therefore I have no raya from the midbar. But one thing I do know, I know that they had children. I know a lot of people died in the midbar. Every year, X amount, all 600,000 people that left Mitzrayim died. And I know they went into Eretz Yisrael with 600,000 people. So I know that there was births. If there's births, then you see that even though they were in Nida, Hashem was upset at them about the ego. He put them in Cherem, said, you're all going to die. Yet, there was Tashmish. Now here's the bomb. What do we try to remember on Amud Aleph? That Nidui min Hashemayim is Chamor. Gemara said it twice. As the same person. Abaya, maybe Nidui, when Hashem puts you in Cherem, the kill, it's lighter than when when Chacham put you in Cherem. Kill. Va'am is Chamer. So the Gemara says a very simple answer. Sapukim Sabkele. Abaya says, don't bring your raya from when Hashem puts somebody in Cherem and doesn't give us rain. Either it's more Chomer, it's less Chomer, but it's not on the same playing level as when Chacham put you in Cherem. I'm going to be doichik you, says Abaya, to say that it's more Chomer. I'm going to say it's more Kal. Whatever I feel like in any sugi, I'll go any way I want, because I don't know what's more Chomer, what's not more Chomer. Does anybody remember the sugya? I had such chalishas hadas. We only learned it like 8 days ago. Is a mitzayra? I have to ask Yoey, he's not here. Is a mitzayra allowed to be with his wife? And the answer is yes. Mitzayra is allowed to be with his wife. Muchlat, remember the cartoon? Machloikis, very good. But hold on, let's read what it says here. Mitzayra. The sign of Yosef Chutz La'aloi, She'ekim Menuda. Uchavel, V'azav V'tashim Shamita. Ve'naloi El Ishtoi. It says that he shouldn't be in his tent. That means his wife. She'nem Aleichem Arlem Shuval Aleichem. It's a very nice way of saying relations. Go back to your tent. Shema Mina, that a Mitzayra is not allowed to be with his wife. How does it go with this chart? It says Taisves, we must say, it's talking about the green. The next step, after Mukhlad, is to count. After Mukhlad, you can count, you can go back to your friends, but you can't be with your wife. And everything makes sense now. But it's a good thing we remember that. It says Mufurish in here. Shiyeh kemenuda. Remember? It says 2 lines up. Shiyeh, that this oval, a Mitzayra should be like a Menuda. And just like a Mitzayra can't be with his wife, so Menuda can't. So here's a good raya that Menuda can't be with his wife. It doesn't say shin, it says shin. It says with the vav, that we're talking about the Mitzayra, we're not talking about the Menuda. Should we do one more here? One more. Yeah, you know what? The sugi is over, mamish on the top, and we're done with the list. Let's just finish the list. Aval doesn't send korbanos to beyamenu. Listen to this beautiful thing. You have to be complete in your heart when you bring a carbon, when you dive into Hashem, anything that has to do with this. You have to be happy. You can't be a sad person. So what about a menuda? Because the word shlomim comes from shalom. What about somebody in excommunication? Again, we're bringing a raya from Klal Yisrael from the midbar. They brought korbanos in the Beis Hamikdash. The kill, maybe Nidu Shemayim is less chomer. Kill b'armis chomer. Okay, so the same thing as we had before. What about a mitzvah? Could he bring a carbon? So you have to see this real quickly. There's 3 psukim here, and the Gemara says it's referring to 3 different things. Vel meis is tumas meis. What's Yispurulai? It's talking about the sphere of Mitzayah. And then we're going to have over here, Chatasai is bringing a carbon real quickly, because the people are already coming in for Shachris. Says Gemara B'Achadar Achar Prishasim Min HaMeis. One pasuk is talking about Tumas Meis. Shivas Yom Yispurulai, Shivas Meis Sferoi. Counting, so it's something completely different. Every coin, when they becomes a coin for the very first time, is a mikdash. Don't close your gemaras yet. We're not done. But the point is, Shimon Omer Bevoy Yaakov, and they're saying the same thing basically. Bevoy Yaakov, you don't have to come on to this. It says when you could come into Beis Hamikdash, Bevoy Yaakov, then I can bring a carbon. What do you see? When you can come, then you can bring a carbon. Here you see that's the end of the list. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Shir Moshe Shabbos, 8 o'clock. Oh, today's not Friday. Did I say good Shabbos? No. Leave it in.